I know we've just given you a lot of information on everything that could potentially go wrong, and that's because it's important for us to be informed here in Canada. But now we're going to be listening to very concrete solutions with Katie Fettes, our next speaker, who is the co-founder and the director of communications at the Rainmaker Enterprise. The Rainmaker Enterprise is a nonprofit organization dedicated to implementing climate-smart water infrastructure in regions impacted by conflict and climate change. Katie has a master's degree in conflict, security, and development, and previously worked with the Olive Branch of Children in Tanzania. Welcome, Katie. Thanks for being with us.
We're so happy to be joining this effort, the Africa Climate Action Initiative. And I just want to tell you a little bit today about a community in South Sudan. The community of Tonj is our partner community that's working hard right now to adapt to the impacts of climate change and build resilience through partnership. The Rainmaker Enterprise is an organization working with people impacted not only by climate change, but also by conflict to build resilience through the implementation of solar-powered water infrastructure for health and food security. Now, South Sudan is one of the top 5 most vulnerable countries in the world to climate change. That's according to the 2017 Climate Change Vulnerability Index. Why is that? That's a combination of reasons. First is because of the direct impacts of climate shocks. So irregular rainfall that's bringing both extreme droughts and extreme flooding and destroying people's crops, displacing hundreds of thousands, and flooding that impacted up to 1 million people last year alone. Compounded by the high reliance on climate-sensitive sectors of the population with almost 100%, so up to 95%, depending on farming, fishing, or herding, what we call climate-sensitive sectors. So when a climate shock comes up, this puts people's lives in complete jeopardy, and that's what we've been seeing. Finally, this is combined with the low capacity of the government to respond and with climate shocks because of long-standing political conflict and a chronic humanitarian situation. At the community level, these vulnerabilities are worsening health challenges, poverty, forced migration, intercommunal conflicts over scarce resources, and extreme food insecurity. This is combined to leave 7 million people extreme food insecure, and that's over half the population. Now, what are we doing about this? So at the community level, what we found at Rainmaker is that insecurity starts with lack of access to clean water and water scarcity. So how we're responding is by installing climate-smart water infrastructure in rural off-grid communities in South Sudan to provide access to water both for people to drink and use in the household level and to use for farming, to enable communities to adapt to climate change and rebuild resilience and security. So the way that our system works is a solar-powered water pump connected to drip irrigation system, which provides an effective means of accessing and managing water that enables communities to farm not only during the rainy season, which is getting increasingly short and irregular, in fact, all year round. And so it gives a bit of a security in times of uncertainty that we're facing now. So what we hope by starting at the community level is that practical action creates possibilities and is going to inspire further action. So what we've seen so far is that our community where we've started is starting to inspire surrounding communities, that we can expand our impact by partnering, working together, and collaborating. So we start at the community level and we build from the ground up. We hope this can also inspire people like you listening and tuning in tonight to support this kind of actions along these people who are on the front lines of climate change and who are already fully prepared to adapt, but they do need the tools. So just to give you an example, our team spoke with one of our community members at ACAI last year, and that's the one on the left on the slide that you see there. So she shared with us how she comes from a long line of farmers. Farming is what she's born with and what she needs to do. ACAI holds in her hands generations of knowledge on organic farming and sustainable land management, and all the factors I've just outlined here have taken this ability out of her hands. Now, if there's one thing I think the COVID-19 situation has shown, it's actually how important productivity is for human security. It's actually quite essential because when food chains get shut down globally, this puts us all in a situation of insecurity. Now, in South Sudan, many communities have been dealing with this for years and even decades. due to conflict and insecurity. We say at the Rainmaker that the critical response is to be able to create the capacity for local level food production. These challenges are only being compounded now by COVID and also by climate change. So the need for local food production capacity is more important than ever. And that's what we're trying to build by leveraging renewable technology to build resilience. So with the right tools, ACAI can cultivate, move her community forward, be a land steward, take the future back into her hands. And that's not just her community's future, but that's our collective future, the future of our whole global communities. We at Rainmaker are strongly in favor of more of these solar-powered irrigation systems and of working together to scale up solar-powered irrigation as a response to climate change and food insecurity. And it is growing rapidly across the African continent as a solution. Thank you.